One, two, three, microphone. Okay, we start. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching in. My name is Gardner, and we are at the Julius Nyerere Leadership Centre here in Makerere. Today we had a very in-depth discussion about youth agency and what they can do to transform Africa and make it better than how they found it. The conversation was very intriguing, and not just intriguing, it brought across two top, famous, detailed Africans. And I want to speak this without favor or fear. We had Israel Laya, yes, Israel Laya, who is a journalist, one of Ghana's finest journalists. He was a keynote speaker. He talked about so many things that you have watched. But this space and this time, we have Helen Nyerere. Helen Nyerere is a granddaughter of Julius Nyerere. She came and gave us her narrative. Many of us have read theory. Some of us have gone further to do research, but we were honored for her to come and give us first-hand information, what she had from her father and also what her grandfather did. And this is the point, and this is the time. Helen, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tell our audience before we jump into our conversation, who is Helen Nyerere?
Helen Nyerere is a leader.
Yeah, definitely.
I find myself to
Yeah,
have leader
yeah.
qualities, but in a different way and from a different aspect. Helen Nyerere is fearless. I think a lot of things that I've done in my life stemmed from stepping out of my shell and stepping in rooms and putting myself in places where I'm not as comfortable.
Yeah,
That's why I'm here today.
yeah.
Like, in the panel, I talked about my experience living in America for 25 years. If I would have never had that wake up moment that I need to move back home, I need to make impact at home, I wouldn't even be here today, right? Because I wouldn't even be accessible to my
Yeah,
family
true.
to say, oh, well, Helena can go to Makerere University and represent the family. So I would consider myself brave, fearless, daring, and also a learner because as a young leader, I'm learning so many things. I want to be put in rooms with people that can teach me,
Yeah.
people that can elevate me, so I can take those things and go teach others as well. So that's how I would describe myself.
A leader, fearless,
Fearless.
and a life learner,
Yes.
and somebody who takes on opportunities as they come.
Yes.
Amazing. Um, One of the things that touched my heart is when you were talking about your grandfather
Yes.
Nyerere, and I think you said this earlier on when you were in the US. You tried so many things
I tried so many
until when
things.
actually you said that one of the boldest decisions you've made is to decide to come back to Africa, to the
Yes.
United Republic of Tanzania
Yes.
itself, to be specific and exact,
Yes.
to start working on your purpose.
Yes.
I've seen young Africans who normally ask me, I was privileged to also have studied from abroad, and people are like, why did you come back? If I was you, I wouldn't even dare come back. Share with the audience two or three things that pushed you and made you realize, this is my place. I have to go back home and do what I have to do.
Two or three things? That is a great question, actually. The first question that I can answer with no regrets is that living my time in the United States, I lived there for 25 years. I was reminded each and every time, that I would never be accepted
Accepted.
by them. And this was in different situations in academia, in corporate America. I was I was always the minority. as I said in the panel
Yeah.
earlier, triple minority.
Triple minority.
Being a woman, being black in the
Yeah.
United States, and also
Yeah.
being African,
And
because then
African.
you also have the prejudiced African Americans who feel threatened by you,
Yeah.
me, right? So that was a that it was more of a buildup. You know, it was a buildup that started from when I started to acknowledge and learn about who I was. That is when I started to understand slowly. But again, it was building, because this was when I was like in my teens. I started to figure out that I come from a family of legacy. I knew I wasn't accepted in the country. I would never be accepted in the country. You can talk like them. I talk like them.
Yeah,
I
sure.
sound like them. I'm educated like them. I'm skilled in the career path that I chose like them. But still,
You
it
couldn't be accepted.
I couldn't be accepted, and that made it so hard for me to accept that was my reality. That was the first thing. The second thing was my legacy. When I started to learn about the legacy that my grandfather left behind, I had to think now, okay, what can I do to leave a legacy? How can I impact change? How can I create opportunities? I can't do it here because I'm working for someone. Even if you put ideas on the table in a boardroom with 20 white men who are your bosses and who are your superiors,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, what is this black
What's
girl
she
talking
saying?
about?
Yeah.
What is she saying? Shut up. You know? And I was like, no, this is not what I want. This is not the direction that I want. I knew that politics wasn't my route. I knew I couldn't do politics in the United States because I'm not
You're
American.
not American, yeah.
But I also knew I couldn't do politics in Tanzania because politics are just not what it used to be, right? So then you think of how to make change as you are within your position without having to do political things, political related things. What am I doing? And am I teaching the 15-year-old neighbor of mine who's a girl? Am I telling her to follow her dreams? Am I telling her to stay in school? So that I found myself impacting without even planning,
Without planning.
right? And that started when I would come to Tanzania on holidays. Maybe I'm closing school for 2 months. I'll be in Dar es Salaam. I'm integrating with locals. I'm I'm leaving my house. I'm walking to the stores. I'm sitting with people who just sit on the street. I'm getting to know them from their perspective. And for me, that was the beauty of it. And that was the beauty of it itself. Me being able to sit with people who come from different backgrounds than me, but they're still teaching me.
Yeah, you're still learning.
You're still
Yeah.
learning. You're learning life skills. You're learning how to deal with different situations and different scenarios that they come across. And I found that so beautifully. And then the third thing that made me say, you know what, this is it. My dad has a tourism company. He's been running it for over 20 years. It's called Butiama Cultural Tourism Enterprise, which focuses on cultural tourism. And the main attraction of that company is bringing foreigners to the homeland of Mwalimu Nyerere, which is Butiama. So that is what our focus is on. That's the objective, like that's the thing. And so when I came back, and my dad will include me in his day-to-day operations, and I would advise or I would suggest new ideas.
That would come easily without.
No, it wouldn't come easily. It
Yeah.
was like, slow your road.
No, for you the ideas came
Oh
so
yes,
easily.
yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, wow, well, okay, well, the main thing here is to teach people about Mwalimu Nyerere's home, Baba Taifa. What does it mean to these people when they come to his home and they visit his gravesite and they visit his museum and they visit his home where he grew up, where he was born, and meet some of the family members. And I just thought, like, wait, this is cultural tourism, but we can make it better.
Better. Yeah.
We can add more resources. We can add more accommodation in Butiama so it's accessible to
A bigger
to more
audience.
people, to
Yeah.
a bigger
Yeah.
audience. And one thing about Butiama, it's so far. It's so far. And I would talk to my dad on ways to improve and to increase traffic in Butiama. How are we doing that? We get over 8,000 visitors in a year. A lot of people come there. It's a historical site.
True.
And so that was the impact itself. Like I found myself taking on roles, and obviously at first my dad was hesitant to like not accept my ideas, but later
It's
on
not your field.
he
Thought.
realized
Yeah.
he realized that like, oh no, Helena will do it. And then I thought to myself like, but he's still gonna limit me, right? Because it's his company, you know. So how do I narrate Africa's storytelling or Tanzania's storytelling through my lens? And I was like, I need to open up my own tourism company. And me and my sister, we did just that.
Wait
We,
a minute. You had to leave your dad's and
I,
started your own.
yes,
Oh, that's bold.
yes, which is less than a year, almost a year,
Almost, yeah.
in operations.
So you wanted to
And
decide what to do by you,
yes,
not
by
passing through the
me.
process of somebody to vet
Yes,
exactly what you
yes.
think you
And
want to
that
do.
goes back to what we were talking about today with leadership. Like, don't just sit at the table and wait for someone to bring you an
Nobody's coming.
opportunity. Nobody is coming, not
Yeah.
even your dad. You know?
Yeah,
And
and
I'm just
even your
like,
dad. Yeah,
okay, you
sure.
know what? Like, it's his company, it's his way. I can do it my way. Why can't I do it? Why not? I have the resources. I know I have the footprint. I know what I need to do. And I just started. And I would meet with other travel operators, they call them destination management companies, where you can partner up with them and you can essentially work together to sell packages to the European market, the Americas, right?
You're adding more services to the
Exactly,
package.
right? And it was intimidating because it's like you would go in these rooms and you're like, oh yeah, I have a tour operating company, and please work with me, and they would just look at you like, why should we work with
Why
you?
would you?
You think
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're the granddaughter of Nyerere, you think we're gonna work with you?
Oh,
Yeah, and that's the
still haunts you.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so growing up all my life, I'm like, people have it so wrong. People think that my privilege has gotten me to where I am today. But actually, the number of rejections has gotten me to where I am today. Because even today, I am creating the opportunities myself. I meet with DMCs and tour operators now, and I tell them, hey, like, we're new, but we have a sister company called Butiama Cultural Tourism, and that mainly focuses on cultural tourism,
Yeah.
right? Because the big takeaway and the big impact, right, is narrating Tanzania through my lens. I'm tired of other people telling my
Telling your
story.
story. Yeah, as they say, if the hunter writes the story,
Yes,
the lion
exactly.
has to lose out.
Exactly.
I picked two things, and I want to speak to our audience today.
Okay.
When you travel, I know when you're coming in Uganda at Entebbe Airport, I don't know if it happens at Nyerere International Airport or any elsewhere, you'll see so many young, energetic, brilliant Africans going
Yes.
abroad
Yes.
to masquerading that they're going to work for greener
Yes.
pastures.
Yes.
But the question I want to put up to you is what Helena has discussed with us. She says she was in the US for more than 25 years. She left because she was not accepted. You who is planning to travel, I don't know where, for greener pastures, what guarantee do you have you'll be accepted? Remember, America is the country of dreams.
Yeah.
These other countries you're going to, I don't know. The second, she talked about legacy. And legacy is not what you do, is what stays after you've gone.
Yes.
And for her, she realized in America, she could not build her legacy.
Yes.
She decided to come. Even when she came, she wanted to be in charge. Yes, she first worked with the parent, the dad, but later decided to start her own tourism company so that she can
Yes.
broaden on what she's offering in her package based on her experience.
Yes.
Now, that shows you that you have to take the leap of faith. It is
Yes.
not green where you're going. First, look at the green you're stepping on because she's back and she's thriving. My second question I want to ask you is about the stories that we never get to know that you are privileged to know about Julius Nyerere, who happens to be your grandfather. Yesterday, you talked about something that when I went back home, I kept on thinking, I'm like, I have never heard about this.
Yeah.
Where he had to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah? Please, I want the audience to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So yesterday we talked about when my grandfather was diagnosed with leukemia. And originally, all the doctors, all the specialists told him, if you go to America, your survival rate is much higher. And I told you that I have recently learned of this story through my father. He told me this like maybe like 3 months ago. And he talked about how Mwalimu Nyerere was like, America? All that money? No, 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 no. We don't need to go to America. And all I could think about in that moment is how selfless he was.
Yes.
Even sick,
Yes.
he was still thinking about his people. Even when he was fighting cancer, he was still thinking about how he can help his people. He wasn't thinking about himself. He wasn't thinking about any of that. And that just shows his humility.
Humility.
It shows how dedicated he was to his life of service, even after retirement, even during retirement. So I just thought it was captivating. You know?
I think it was, is it Dr. Dixon who said situations don't make a man, they prove who a man is.
Yes.
Today we have seen leaders, not only top leaders, even the grand kids. When such moments happen, it comes to sickness because it's either death or survival.
Right.
They'll hire chartered planes
Yes.
to make sure these people go and seek medical attention. Guys, you know Nyerere, you've read about him, but he said no. Not because he did not have what it took, he had at his disposal, but he decided. And that is what servant leadership is all about. That is what
Absolutely.
selfless is all about. Not in good times.
Yes.
The times will test you to prove
Who you really are.
you are. And for me, that was the epitome of it.
Yeah.
Because that is the time, even if it is me, I'll be the first.
No, same, because you're like, what?
I have to survive.
I have to survive.
I have to
you
survive.
know?
So
I got to
it's-
see it through.
I have to see the next day. I have to see the next year. So it's not theory. You've
Yeah.
had it. Now, the other thing I would want you to share with us. What other thing have you heard about your grandfather that every time you go to sleep and ask yourself, because you already said, politics, there is nothing you are going to do that he did not do. You
Yes.
can't beat his record.
Oh, I cannot.
Not at all.
I cannot.
But what maybe it's an ideology, maybe it is an idea or it's a statement to you that every time you go to sleep and say, this will take me places. This will make me be that excellence that we've been talking about today.
You know, one thing that he said that always stuck in the back of my mind, and again, I just want to be very honest that I didn't start to learn about my grandfather's ideologies until I was old enough and was, you know, I was old enough to do the research on my
to do the
own.
research, yeah.
And he had so many ideologies. I'm still processing, till this day, I'm 32. I'm still learning every day. Every day I learn about him. But one thing he would always say, he said this once in an interview, he said, if you argue with fools, you are also a fool.
No, repeat that.
If you argue with fools, you are also a fool. And I apply that every day in many things, in many situations. Being the granddaughter of Nyerere, especially with times like social media, I can have attacks. I can have random attacks from people who follow
Yes.
me,
Yeah.
right? I can have random hate DMs, people speaking, saying mean things to me or about my family or about my grandfather. And they just want an argument or a reaction out of me. And one thing we were always taught was to never feed into that,
Yeah.
because that person don't know me.
Oh,
You're
you
behind a
don't. Yeah.
phone
Yeah.
and you just want a reaction out of me, so you can go have something to say about the granddaughter of Nyerere, saying, "Oh, she's nothing like her
Yeah. Yeah.
grandfather.
Yeah.
She's belligerent. She's she's angry. She's full of hatred." And all of these things. When I was young, I used to be very angry. I used to get attacked a lot, and I would always want to give people a response. And my dad would say, like, your grandfather wasn't like that. I encourage you to dive deep. I encourage you to get to know the ideologies of your grandfather so you can practice those things. Never let people get a reaction out of you. And my dad does a great job at that. I mean, he gets attacked all the time.
I'm imagining that expectation
Oh
home,
yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
always saving to keep up to the standard.
Yeah. Yeah, and it for many years, and that's why it messed with my identity. It messed with what my purpose was in
Was
life.
yeah.
Like, what am I put on this earth to do? What can I do that will be of great impact? And I had to cancel the noise and I had to focus on what's important. I had to focus on how I can make a difference. I had to build integrity. I feel like integrity is built.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think you're
Yeah.
born with those
No. No. No.
things.
No. 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 You have
Um,
to act towards it.
yes. And
And be
again,
intentional.
be
Yeah.
intentional, right? Be hands
Yeah.
on.
It's like religion. It's a
It
way of
it's
living.
it's
Every
a
day
way,
you make that
exactly.
decision to align with your moral fiber, what you believe in.
Exactly.
My last question, and I would want you to sum it up with you are a woman. Nyerere, one of the things he advocated for was inclusion, gender inclusion of women. And you being a woman, having these ideologies, you trying to pursue your own career, you coming from this wealth of a background of this pillar, this giant, African giant. I would want you to talk to that woman out there who still feels, yeah, somebody's coming for me.
Honey, no one is coming for you. No one is coming for you. And also, I encourage women who think that their job is to just sit down
And do nothing and
and let the
wait.
man do it all.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about my fiance. He is the type of person who, and that's why he's my fiance, right? He was a man who told me one day, he said, "Girl, if you're going to depend on me all the time to make all the money, what are you going to do when I'm gone?"
And that's the reality.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
no, like,
Yeah.
for real. Like, a lot of women, when you hear stories like that, unfortunately, the husband passed away. Then the mother is like even in more distress because she has children, but
She
she
can't take
has
care
no
of them. Yeah.
skills. She can't stop and say, like, "Okay, I'm gonna go work now. I've had this experience. I know what it's like. I can jump in. I'm confident enough." And that's why it's so important for me to build those experiences, to be able to do multiple things. Working in corporate America, although it was not my final destination, I was there for 6 years for the time being for a reason. It taught me work ethics. It taught me discipline, right? I put away, I had to put aside the Nyerere
The
name.
near,
None of
yeah.
those
Yeah.
Caucasians knew who he was. You know,
They never know anyway.
they never knew. They never know.
Yeah.
And so those work skills I take pride in, right? And even those skills that I acquired my time in the United States, I apply them in tourism. I went to ITB Berlin. It's one of the biggest tour expos in the world yearly. And it's every country there. And it's so many DMCs, so many tour operators showcasing what they can
What they
do.
can do.
And if
Yeah.
you can't walk in the room and sell yourself in 2 minutes, That's a problem,
Waiting for
right?
somebody to do it for you.
Waiting for someone to, no one is coming, honey. That's my takeaway.
Wow. No one is
No one is
coming
coming for
for
you.
you.
And you said that all day.
Yeah, I did. I did. And
And it's true.
what has really built on my understanding from your conversation is that we may think you are privileged. Doors are going to open. You know, when you enter a room and you're like, my name is Helena Nyerere, people are like, granddaughter? So everybody will open. But from your narrative is that you are not just waiting for doors to open.
Yes.
You are working and sweating your hell out to go to where you want to be, regardless.
Yes.
And this is what we have been talking about today. We don't care who your father is, whom you know, because we have seen even the people that have the fathers or the godfathers and the stepfathers going down to the drain after they
Yes.
have gone.
Yes.
But we have seen a young woman who has grown up with these morals, with these ideas, with this self-esteem to say, I can do it regardless of the name.
Yes.
And I'm very excited that this is the message you shared here on the panel. It's a message we have shared here. And if you're out there, I mean, know you have picked something. So let's close it up.
Yes.
Tell somebody out there your parting shot and one thing they should remember. What do you want to be remembered for?
One thing that I'm going to end this interview with is do not underestimate the value of your perception. And I want you guys to take that in and really, really break it down, okay? Because I can have a perception, but if I lack confidence, right? Who am I going to influence?
Nobody.
I would never even have the confidence to walk in a room and say my thoughts. But you never know, right? I can walk in a room and I can say my thoughts, and
Somebody will.
5 people can be like, "Wow, she really spoke on that. I really felt that." And so that's why it's so important to never underestimate the value of your perception.
I'll repeat it. Never underestimate the power of your perception, because perception is everything.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
We are
much.
honored, and every time we invite you, please.
I will always come.
We promised our audience the other day and here now that we will have this conversation extend online.
Yes, absolutely. And
So
I'll be more
she
than happy
commits.
to join.
So
Yes,
wait for
I'm
the
committed.
time and date.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
All right.
Okay.